Got your attention yet? Let's go. Alright, guys, raise the hands. Who knows what this is? If you said it is a ice cream cone, I think you're terribly wrong. If you said that it is a ice fishing tip-up, I'd say you're 100% correct. So, if you know anything about this channel, you know that I've done some ice fishing videos on my sled build and a spud build. Obviously, I like ice fishing. So, the problem with that is we're going to come up to summer here soon, so obviously ice fishing is not happening. But I've spent the last 5 years that I've been ice fishing attempting to catch a fish on a tip-up, and I have failed miserably. If you knew how much money I had in shiners, it'd be ridiculous, okay? So, I'm going to attempt to catch a fish on a tip-up in, it'll still be April when I actually do this, so April. So, I mean, you got a big dock install coming up in a couple weeks at my brother's house, and I thought, what a better idea than to just throw a tip-up out, building the deck, see the flag, yell flag, go running. Hopefully that happens, but let me show you how I'm going to do that. Let's go get Dusty. Alright, here comes the tip. So, if you saw it in the opening part, I threw a screw and I threw a metal washer down. Now, the idea behind the screw and the washer is to make an eye bolt. Now, I thought I had some laying around. Don't, so I'm going to make my own. I've also used this trick on making anti-tip devices for furniture. All I'm going to do is literally, I'm going to take my screw, I'm going to weld the bolt to it, which I'll still be able to use as a regular screw, drive it into the wood as far, and I just made an eye bolt. So, there's your tip. Hope you liked it. I'm going to do it right now. And there you go. I now have an eye bolt. It is done. So before I kind of go into the details on it, if you don't know how a tip-up works and you've been ever curious about it, so this is it. So what you're going to do, that folds down there. You've got your line and everything will be out, way out, and a fish will come along. Go, oh, that looks delicious. They'll grab it, and then they'll go, and then your flag goes off, and you got a fish on. So that's how a tip-up works. And normally you have this sitting in the hole of the ice, but what we got here is I used a scrap piece of 1x4. I ripped it into I cut it in two 20-inch sections. I notched out to make the cross. Ripped it out to make the cross pattern on it, which you can also, if you need to, you could just butt it up and do little brackets on the side. But I got that, screwed that in. I drilled the hole for the tip up part to go through, and then I had to do a small little notch right here to get this little line holdery thing on there. So that fits through there. I used some probably 1.5 inch styrofoam that I had laying around, and I actually used 2-inch coarse screws to screw the styrofoam on, and it seemed to have worked really, really well. And if I ever did one of these like permanently, I think I would actually glue it and then screw it, but that's why I zip tied it also, is just to be safe. Then I zip tied the actual tip up to it. Like I said, if I'm going to do this permanently, I do think I would drill some holes and I would actually set this. This should be pretty buoyant being on an X figure. we'll see. But now the big question is how are you going to retrieve this thing? So if you're in a boat, I would assume you would just motor over to it and grab it. But I'm not going to be in a boat at the time. So that is why I did that washer idea, the screw washer. So I'm going to hook a rope to this, run it out like a leash, bait it, kick it out. And we're going to see what happens. So all right, let's fast forward a couple weeks and let's see what happens. All right, so here we are in the magic of time. It's been 2 weeks. I'm going to bait this up and launch this out and see what happens. All right, then I'm going to tie this off here and hopefully that floats out a little farther and see if we get a flag. All right, so as you can see, I'm back at the shop, and you can probably tell by there was no fish catching footage that I did not successfully catch a fish on this yesterday. I did catch a fish on a pole yesterday. Aww. I did not catch one on this. And I had this out for close to 8 hours. But that's not a failure on this itself. That's just a failure on me. It's a new area. I've never really gave a good fish there. And the other problem that I was running into was there's a lot of dead trees in that water. So the one false flag that I did have was just that my bait had swam up under a tree and set off the flag. And when I went to set it, I did hook a really nice big tree. So this does work. And I know this will work. You just have to go where the fish are. Now, here's the kind of setup is you saw me walk out and try to set it off from the bank. That doesn't really work because you can't really set your depth and then push it out. But, so what I ended up doing was I ended up getting in the boat, paddling out a little bit, setting it, paddling back in, and then I still kept the tether to it so I could reel it in if I had gotten a flag. So that works. So I think, honestly, if you're to use this, it's better off in a boat situation, or if you could wade out far enough out, set it, and then wade yourself back in. But where I was yesterday is it goes from about 6 inches to about 4 feet in about 2 seconds. So quick drop off there. Can't really walk out and walk back in. And it's still April, so the water was still really cold. This will work. I do have some fishing trips planned for this summer. I'm going to take it out and we're going to see if I can still catch something on this tip up. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.